Hello and welcome to the Sideboard here at the StarCityGames.com standard open in Columbus, brought to you by Ultimate Guard. I'm Nick Miller alongside Ronnie Ritner. How you doing, sir?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. Part-time streamer, part-time player. You got a GP top 8 in Detroit.
Correct.
We've seen you playing this Black-White Angel deck. We're going to call it Black-White Angel Control, because you're the first person on SCG Tour history to combine and meld Gisela and Bruna. Yeah, anything. Right. We haven't had any other melds. Of course, there's only 3 of them, but you have done the one everyone wants to see.
Right.
The Angels coming together, beating down with Priscilla, Voice of Nightmares. How's it feel?
Feels pretty good. Very good combo once you get it out.
Right. So we've got this Black-White control deck. This deck sort of existed before Eldritch Moon, but now you have this new plan of attack based off the Legend package, thanks to Thalia's Lancers, right?
Correct.
So take us through how you came up with this deck, or how you and your friends came up with this deck, because I know there's a couple of you playing it.
Well, okay, the Gisela is obviously, the Gisela and Bruno combo obviously are great. So we're like, what's the best way we can play this in a deck? And I feel like just being able to like control the game and being able to meld those two together. And this card right here is the key to finding whatever. And even if you don't need this card gets you like any of these, and even a land if you need it.
Right.
Like, so it's very versatile.
Right, so for the camera, we have the extra Angel package. We have, of course, Archangel Avacyn, which you can get, legendary. We've got Linvala, legendary. Of course, Kalidas, legendary.
Correct.
You can get all these, but also you've got the Gara Reach Sanitarium here, the land, legendary land, so you can even get a little value if you've already exhausted all your creatures.
Yeah, I needed to get that once for, I had the Bruna in my hand and a Gisela already in my graveyard, and I just stuck on lands. And I was able to get that and actually play it and loot the next turn into the land, and it actually won me the game.
Right, so you've got all the angles covered here between getting the Angels going, getting the package together. But as you said, this is a Black-White control deck at its heart, because you have to stay alive long enough to get this combo going.
Actually, it's almost the exact Black-White control deck, adding new cards to it and shaving like the older, like obviously the Grasps are still great, all these are still great, with addition to a new Liliana, which has been okay, it's been good, and obviously these.
Right. All the new creatures are the big talk, but also, of course, you have Liliana adding into the Planeswalker package with Sorin and Ob Nixilis. Liliana, of course, being able to kill creatures, but also being this other recursion engine along with this whole Angel package.
If they do end up killing one of those, you could just -2 Liliana and get them back.
Right, bring back Bruna, which then brings back Gisela, which then allows you to do the Nightmares all over again.
Correct. Well, the one main thing, we actually cut all 4 Gideons, as you can see. There's no more Gideons at all, because it just doesn't really, like, the curve is not, can't really afford it. Basically.
Right, you're getting a much higher converted mana cost with the Angels and all the bigger cards, so you can't really make room for Gideons.
Correct.
Also, this deck seems to kind of be attacking from a different angle. Those old Black-White control decks would do the token thing. You're not in the interest of doing that.
Right, and actually a couple of times, like I played against some people with Reflector Mage, that card's actually like insane against this deck. They end up taking it out because they don't know what they're really playing against. And like, they both showed me the 2 times I played against it. They said they took out all of them, and I'm like, that's like the best card against this deck. But they don't really know about it because they've never seen anything like it before.
Right, of course, the blowout being once you assemble Priscilla, one Reflector Mage disassembles the entire the meld combo there.
Right, but the only way you could get it is through Collected Company, because they can't cast spells with 3 or less.
Sure.
So that's the only way they could get Reflector Mage through. But if they bounce one of those, obviously,
so
it just stalls me.
You shut the window on them being able to do that, but they do have a slight chance to get it going.
Right, I actually think I should be playing a 4th one of the Languish. That's been like, every time I seem like I have Languish, I feel like I'm ahead. And just, it's trading 1-for-1's obviously so good for so long until Languish obviously does more than that.
Yeah, the Bant decks of all the company varieties are all just kind of flooding.
Right,
you can only keep one and one so long.
Like, they have like 24 guys, 26, whatever they play.
Okay.
It's just 1-for-1's not really going to do it.
Speaking of 1-for-1, we'll go over the removal suite. You have basically everything we expect to see in the Black-White decks, from Grasp, Ultimate Price, Ruinous Path, Languish, and of course Anguish Unmaking, which can take care of non-creature permanents as well.
Anything problematic.
You have Duress main deck here to kind of take care of cards like Collected Company.
Just anything. It hasn't whiffed once. I mean, I drew it late game when they had nothing in their hand, but other than that, it's been. And plus, just me knowing what they have in their hand is just a huge thing.
Yeah. Read the bones as your card advantage.
Correct.
And then from that, we've seen it. We've seen the creatures. You just close the game out with these threats. If they deal with them, you get them back. Eventually, you're going to get them.
Right. And once again, that card right there is just, it makes this deck playable.
Right. Thalia's Lancer's the key here. Now, were there cards you were trying to cram into this deck that had the Legend subtype on them that didn't make the cut, or are there any ones you want to still try?
The only other one that was like almost playable was, it still may be playable, but the Oath of Liliana was one that we were like, should we play it or not? Can we play it over one of these? Because it's still, obviously you can search it out, and it's still decent with the Planeswalkers.
Yeah.
So that was one that we considered, but we didn't really. But this was the latest edition. This was happened actually this morning.
Right, the
we
land.
were like, yeah, we actually cut 2 lands and added that one. Doesn't make much sense, but
Addition by subtraction.
right.
All right, yeah. So all the legends are very good here. Thalia's Lancer has been very surprising at how good it is, just kind of clogging up the board, getting you the time you need to
and
get
if you're
these
really
angels.
like behind, you still can search a Liliana or a Linvala out and still play it game 5, make it 3/3, get right back in the game. So it can get almost anything.
Yeah, and that's just kind of huge game against the humans decks that are trying to get under you. You can kill them, then get that huge rush of life, whether from Linvala or Kalidas as well as lifelink there to kind of cushion
And
it
it
too.
actually gets Spell Queller can't counter that one, so.
Right, you get to do Lancers into one of your 5 or 6 drops.
Right.
Just kind of laugh at Spell Queller.
Right. Spell Queller's been very good against this deck. Can I talk about this card real quick?
Go for the Blessed Alliance.
Yeah, Blessed Alliance has been surprisingly unbelievable. Like, you could make them sack a guy and untap 2 creatures, like I untapped this guy and made him sack a guy, basically made him sack 2 guys and gain 4 life, basically using all 3 of the modes for 4.
Right. Getting to untap Gisela, first strike, lifelink, kill something with the ability as well.
Right, and the Sylvan Advocates obviously is a little harder in the late game, but this sometimes, that's the only thing they have. Like, you could wipe the board with Languish and they still have the 4/5, and that actually could get rid of it.
Okay, yeah, seems very good there. We've seen, I think Jeff Hoagland's blue-white deck is using a couple copies of that card. Everyone in white is touching on 1 or 2 copies of that card.
Right.
Just kind of, no one's quite sure where the power is at. But you're saying it's very high?
I personally think it's great. Every time I had it in my hand, I liked casting it. I wasn't like, all right, I guess I gained 4 or whatever.
Sure.
It's been very good.
Sideboard, you got a bunch more discard spells here between Transgress and Duress. You got some Wraths between Flailing Tendrils and a Planar Outburst. What are the kind of the standouts in the sideboard here?
I used every single card except the Cub. So the Cub and the second Read the Bones. I haven't really played against a bunch of control decks. So obviously the 2 more rule spells for Spirits are great. These obviously are great against Spirits also.
Right,
this is good against Spirits, but I've never actually cast it before, but it seems, just pretty standard.
Right, your deck has a lot of tools against what people thought were going to be the popular decks this weekend. Spirits and the Bant Company decks of different flavors. You're just kind of annihilating those decks.
Right. The Bant Company still always could get, their companies could just be the nuts. And
sure.
You can't win, but
you can't win every time.
That's definitely true. You definitely can't win every time.
All right, so you're 6-1-1. How you feeling the deck is going into round 9 here?
I think it's been playing out a little better than I actually expected it to be. It's actually like I don't feel like I could just get crushed. I feel like I'm in every game and could definitely win every game.
Right. Well, you got your bases covered: the Bant decks, the Spirit decks, the human decks.
I played. Those are the only 3 decks I played. Only 1 Spirits and 1 actual humans deck. The rest were Bant Company.
All right. Well, if you want to be in a good position in this standard format, this looks to be very good right now.
Yeah, it seems. Well, this deck also it's better because people don't actually know how to play against it.
Right.
Like, once people know that Declaration in Stone is very good against this deck, which usually it's never good against a control deck. I can see it getting worse, but right now, when no one really knows anything about it, then it's definitely good.
Well, you're making it work. We want to see you meld some more angels here on camera.
Only 6 out of the 7 or 7 out of the 8 rounds I've melded it.
All right, we're going to keep that number up. Good luck the rest of the way. Stay tuned to StarCityGames.com all weekend long for the action here in Columbus.